My name is Glen Gustafson. I'm the Chief Financial Officer. There we are. My name is Glen Gustafson. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Colorado Springs School District 11. About 28,000 kids. I'm also the case president-elect, and so I'm helping in that role as well. Cheryl has very accurately gone through all the impacts. I've given you a very brief two-page document, and on the back of that document is how we forecast the impact of School District 11. And you can see that at the bottom box there that we are showing that our impact will be $8.6 million reduction in funding from this year to next year. And if five-year enrollment averaging is eliminated, then we would have a deficit of over $12 million for next year. On top of that, of course, we have the para and utilities increases that Cheryl mentioned, and in our case, the City of Colorado Springs has already announced an 18% increase in utility costs, so we're looking at those energy costs very closely. I won't reiterate that, but I will tell you on the back of that document is the para impact calculation on school districts, where you can see that eventually we will be looking at a 28.55% of compensation requirement just to fund pension costs, which will extremely limit our ability to provide salary raises. One of the things I'd like to talk to you about real briefly is the middle page. There is a survey in your document that Bodie Herman from CDE allowed me to send out to all school districts across the state of Colorado that identified 38 different items, and whether or not school districts would strongly consider, likely consider, not consider, or not likely consider, or not consider at all, how they were balanced their budget for next year. We're still in the process of tabulating those results. I've got over 40 responses so far, and they continue to roll in, and I'll be anxious to provide those with you as soon as we have a bigger database. But we did that survey for three different reasons. One was to educate our community about the projected impact of K-12 across the state of Colorado. The stories I hear are still of disbelief. I talked to a superintendent the other day in eastern rural Colorado who said her school board refuses to believe that they're going to have a reduction for next year. And I begged her, I said, please let me come and talk to them. I'll be glad to do that in my role as case president-elect, to share with them that this is indeed real and they need to plan accordingly. The second role of this survey was to educate about budget reduction ideas. As you know, you have a great deal of variety in terms of small districts and large districts, their abilities to balance their budget. At least here's 38 different ways that they might consider how to balance their budget, so it helps them to educate and do that. And of course, the third and primary reason was just to see the survey results, because we want to know what people are considering as they're going through this very difficult process. I'd like to conclude with, we have a very heartfelt appreciation and sympathy for what's going on in the state of Colorado. We know that this is a very, very difficult scenario. We've seen the numbers from the governor's office. We know how greatly the state general fund budget has been impacted. But we also have some very difficult things to work through. We have labor negotiations that in our case involve a union that will require a considerable amount of energy to just educate and work through those considerations. And we know that in the end, with 85% of our budget being salaries and benefits, we will either have to impact the number of people getting paid or how much they get paid. And furlough days and across the board pay cuts will be a strong consideration for that. In some ways, it reminds me of when you go in the restaurant and you see that giant thing where you roll the penny and it just keeps circling down to the bottom, that this whole economy is that penny rolling down the bottom. And now we're seeing the trickle-down effect from the national economy to the state economy to the local economy, and now it will go to the next layer of the economy, the individual taxpayers that work in our school districts. Thank you for this opportunity.